real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Sandra Orozco worked for the defendant at a restaurant, and she claims the defendant acts like a teenager, despite the fact that she is 10 years older than Sandra. Sandra says the defendant would often brag about showing up to work hungover, and Sandra is suing her today for breach of contract. Defendant Nina Hernandez says she is the manager of the restaurant and insists she would never show up to work hungover. Nina refuses to pay Sandra for anything because she claims Sandra is the one who breached their agreement.
Tell me what happened.
Despite the fact that she's 10 years older than me, she acts like she's a teenager. She always brags about how she smokes all the time and drinks, and she'll go to work with a hangover, and she just sits in the back.
That is so not
And she
true.
what?
And she'll just sit in the back on the counter, on the floor or something. She also has a gambling problem. She told me that she won $50,000 a few years back, decided not to pay
That's not a
taxes.
problem. If you win at 50,000.
Exactly.
She decided not to pay taxes, so the IRS had to garnish her wages.
Not
This is
exactly, that was
according to
paid
her.
off. It was paid off.
So she just thinks life is a joke, and she just doesn't care about anybody else but herself. She doesn't care about the consequences that come from her
How has
actions.
she hurt others?
Well, she's almost 10 years older than me. She owes me money. She tells me all the time she owes her dad money.
Other than you? Or her dad?
Her dad
All
money.
right.
I mean,
Okay.
she's saying
So
how...
she has a party and passes the bill to everyone else.
Not, we don't even party together. Like she said, I'm 10
That's
years
her
older than
point.
her.
You do all the
I don't
partying
even
and
party.
she's a hard worker.
I have a 4-year-old at
And you do
home.
the
I don't
party
even
and she
party.
does the work.
I don't even party, Judge. I don't. I have a 4-year-old who I adopted 4 years ago from my stepsister.
She says you party on the floor at the job before people
No,
get there.
that is
Something.
not
What'd you
true.
say?
Yeah, she
No,
told me
Judge.
she
No,
goes
that
to the
is
back
not
of the store
true.
and she'll lay on the counter, lay on the floor.
Yeah.
That is not true.
Hungover.
I have cameras on me 24/7 when we're at work.
Plaintiff Sandra Orozco worked for the defendant, and she claims the defendant was so irresponsible that she bragged about showing up to work hungover.
You tell me about your work experience with her before we get to the breach of contract. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I've been a store manager for about 5 years. My new boss, I went through a new owner. He hired her through a mutual friend who actually worked there with her. And I would only close with her on Tuesdays for my inventory nights. And it was just me and her. And that's how we kind of interacted and
Was
talked
she
to
a
each
decent
other.
employee?
She was good at first.
Okay,
She was
what
good
happened?
at first. She had boys coming in, friends coming in. You know, they're teenagers. I understand that.
Yeah, you didn't
I
want
used
them to see you on the floor back
No.
there. Yeah, that's not nice.
It
Why
wasn't
would you
about the
see
floor.
people? You knew she'd be laying on the floor in the back. Why would you
wasn't
bring
about
people
the
in to see that?
I've been through 3 owners. If that was the case, I would have been terminated a long time ago. Okay. I'm a very good manager. I run the
How
business
long did it take you to become a manager?
about 1.5 years.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I was trained by the district manager as well.
I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job, straight job.
Mine
And-
too. I was a manager there for 4 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Mine too. I was a manager there for 4 years as well.
I started, and within 8 months, I was an assistant manager.
Yep.
And I started in the parking lot. I think I've told the story before. They were so distrustful of me because they knew of my background that they wouldn't even let me in the store. All I could do, I had to work the parking lot. I had to pick up the trash around the parking lot. That's all I could do. And then they let me in the back door to grab the trash and put it into the, close the door real quick and put it into the big trash containers. But ultimately, I worked my way to the grill where I was allowed to flip burgers. And then I was allowed to do the fries. Never did make the cash register. It wasn't that crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Clearly, I had to work the cash register ultimately to find out how to work all parts of the restaurant. And I
Exactly.
became an assistant manager. So I say that to say to young people, as we always try and encourage people on this show, that you can start off at the bottom and quickly rise to the top, as you did.
Exactly.
Tell me how she owes you for the breach of contract, $1,900.
Well, she had offered to sell me her car for $2,500, and I agreed. I didn't have all the money at the time, so the deal was to make her payments until it totaled $2,500. When I was finished paying her $2,500, she was signing the car over to me. So in May, I had paid $1,900 already, and in June, I called her ready to give her the last payment, and she said that she didn't sign over the car to me because she didn't have the money for a down payment for a new car since she spent all the money that I had given her already. So I gave her the choice, either you pay me back my money, or I'll give you the $600 and you still have to sign over your car. So she decided to pay me back, and I let her pay me back with whatever payment she wanted. I didn't charge any interest, and she promised me the money back by my birthday, which is in September. So when September came around, no money paid back at all, not even one single penny. December came around, no money at all. So.
Ma'am?
Not true. First of all, I want to say I love you. You are gorgeous. I used to watch you every day in San Diego. I even considered quitting my job just so I could watch you.
No, don't do that.
But anyways, first I want to say, me and her, we did talk about, me selling my car. And I told her in the beginning from day one, because like I said, I watch you. I said, let's make a contract stating something, how much you're going to give me, and so forth and so forth.
Do we have that?
No, she didn't want to do that. She said, no, that's fine. I trust you. Here's the money. She would give me money every once in a while, like maybe every 2 weeks. So the first payment she gave me was in April, and the last payment she gave me was in September. So then about maybe a month later, she comes to me. She's like, okay, my mom said I can't buy your car.
It's not true.
Her mom runs her life, okay? I'll tell you that. I'm not saying anything bad about her mom, but her mom runs her life, And she told me, she said, well, my mom said...
You received a total of how much, though?
$1,900.
And she didn't get the car, though?
No, I fell on hardship. Okay, I bought a house. Well, didn't buy it.
Bought a house with her money.
No, no, me and my boyfriend, Your Honor. I share, a household with my boyfriend and my 4-year-old child. And like I said, my child
Your Honor, her parents take care of her child.
Plaintiff Sandra Orozco worked for the defendant, and she claims the defendant was so irresponsible that she bragged about showing up to work hungover.
Why shouldn't you give her money back, ma'am?
I told her, I said, you know what? I will give you your money back. Just give me time.
How much have you given her?
I've given her a total of $630, but in the contract that she put, she wanted me to pay her $25 of late fees if I missed a payment. And I agreed to that. I was okay with that. Now I read the whole contract over again, and now she's saying she can sue me for the whole $1,900. And I'm like, no.
Who has that? Who has the contract?
When we went over this contract together, it was me, her, and as we're going over the contract.
Late fee in the amount of $25. Okay.
If she does not make the payment,
no
which is
later than 1 day
$125.
after each of my period, which is bi-weekly.
There's $125 total late fee.
Right, okay. That's reasonable.
I agreed to that.
What is unreasonable, ma'am, is that she will pay you $1,900 regardless of the amount she had paid up through that point. In other words, you're saying if she has paid you $1,850, just because she misses that $50, she has to repay you another $1,900.
Exactly.
That's essentially what this says.
Exactly.
Ma'am.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Her mother wrote that up because her mother works in the
Whoever wrote it up, it's unenforceable. It's
because she does not talk that way. I'll tell you that, Your Honor.
It's called unconscionable.
Exactly.
There's a theory in contract law of unconscionability, meaning a contract is so one-sided and so unfair that it is unenforceable.
Your Honor, at the time when she signed the contract, she had no objections whatsoever. I did. If she had some objections, she would have had me written up a new contract.
The reason that theory exists is for uninformed people who might not know to object.
Well, I would understand if it was at the end, but she's only paid me $630.
I understand, but the contract dictates that regardless of how much she has paid, if she breaches, she has to start all over and pay the total amount all over again.
It also says
doesn't get credit for any of her payments.
Your Honor, she's 27 years old. She's owed me this money for over a year and a half.
You're going to get your money back. But you're not going to get
the
exorbitant penalty you're trying to obtain.
Well,
you gave her $1,900. You're going to get your $1,900 back plus $125 in late fees. So $125 in late fees, that's $2,025 minus $630.
Yeah, we're up to $1,395.
$1,395.
She did that quicker than you. $1,395 is a judgment, ma'am. That should fully compensate you plus a late fee. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Number one, my mom does not run my life. I am grown. I make my own decisions. I'm sorry you did not graduate from high school. I'm sorry you can't go out and get another job. And I'm sorry.
You don't know that.
I do know that because you've told me that, and you told me how you've been trying to get
you.
No, not anymore.
So it doesn't matter.
Not anymore.
I'm just glad this is done and over with. She can go about her life. I can go about my life, and we will never do business again.